We're at the famous Terramar circuit in Spain. And why? To launch the new Terramar. This is Cupra's new mid-size SUV, and while it's quite subtle looking, it is arguably one of the most important cars Cupra has coming. It is in effect Cupra's Tiguan. It's based on the same underpinnings. It competes against the same cars, things like the Nissan Qashqai, Hyundai Tucson and Kia Sportage. And this is going to be big news for Cupra in Ireland. We don't have confirmed prices yet, but we do know it's going to start a few grand less than €50,000. It's going to be a lot of choice in the range. What I'm going to do now is give you a quick walk around of the design, have a look at the interior, and then we're going to go out and do some driving. I would say that the Terramar is probably the most distinctive of all of its siblings from the Volkswagen group. At the front you've got this fairly new look from Cupra where it's almost beaky here. I think it's called shark nose actually, not beaky from Cupra. But you've got a big proud Cupra badge up here. It's copper coloured and that colour is throughout the car. Around the side, if you look closely at the lights themselves, you'll see they've got this 3 triangle motif, and that's very much a new part of the Cupra design language, and you'll find it throughout the car. As you move around, of course, you've got nice big alloy wheels. This version obviously is a bit higher spec, it's the VZ. These are 20-inch alloy wheels, and I really like the Cupra detailing. And the brake calipers, they also have Cupra written on them, and they're copper coloured. This particular model is the plug-in hybrid, so this is a charging flap here. I'll talk a bit more about the powertrains when we're driving. The rest of the car is quite simple, so it's unadorned, it's not fussy, and I don't think it'll put people off. It's not over the top at all, but it is still stylish. I like the slope of the roofline. It's cleverly disguised that it doesn't actually slope right down in the name of head space inside, of course. Come around to the back, and this is actually one of the most distinctive parts of the car. You've got a full width light bar here. Again, you've got this triangular detailing within the lights themselves, and the light up Cupra logo in the middle. It doesn't say Terramar on the back, which I'm a bit surprised by, but I guess the Cupra name is all that matters in this case. As you'd hope for a car that is bought by families and for practicality, there's a decent sized boot back here. Now this particular one, the plug-in hybrid, doesn't have any extra space under the floor here, so it is a bit lower capacity than the other models, but by any other measure, it's a big boot. The rear seats, they split and fold down as well, and now I'll have a look at the interior so you can see how much space there is in there. Inside, the Terramar is quite different to its siblings because it's the sporty layout, the sporty design. It's very much a Cupra feel in here. Again, this is a high-spec model, so you have to be careful on that, but these seats are actually glorious. Electrically operated, of course, but they have beautiful stitching and this lovely detailing in the leather as well, and the Cupra badge embossed in the headrest. I really like that. It really sets the tone for the interior. Another highlight is this steering wheel. Now, an SUV like this doesn't need a flat bottom steering wheel, but it makes the car feel sportier and buyers clearly like it. What I like more are these buttons on the steering wheel. So you have a Cupra button here for going straight into the Cupra driving mode. You actually have an engine start button here. So it just adds to the drama, it adds to the occasion, and certainly lifts the car above most standard SUVs. That goes the same for all this copper detailing, and I like that. I really like that colour. Some people mightn't, I guess, but what's really good in this car is that it's added to the quality, so there's actually a really high quality feel in here, and it certainly compares very well to the likes of the Volkswagen Tiguan, which it shares so much with. Speaking of which, of course, the Cupra gets the whole digital dashboard that we're used to from the Volkswagen group. So got a very big standalone touchscreen here in the middle, got sliders on the bottom for temperature and volume, and we've got a 10.25 inch digital instrumentation screen in front of us as well. That can be varied in how it operates, and the central screen, of course, has got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but also has a really detailed system itself built in with a lot of connectivity. In terms of practicalities, you've got 2 different size cup holders here, which I like. That's quite clever in case you've a small cup or a bottle here, but you can also fit in a bigger one in front. You've got a wireless charger right down in here, 2 USB-C ports, and then an underarm storage section as well here. A bit of a slot here to put the key or bits and pieces in. It's quite a practical interior and mixes all of that with the sporty image. And, well, does it live up to that sporty image? It is, at the end of the day, an SUV, as it's supposed to be practical and with a bit of a sporty look and feel to it. But anyway, let's go out and drive it and see, does it live up to that too. Now, I'm not sure if you can see the banking from the camera angle. We're actually slowly driving around the old Terramar circuit here, and it's quite extreme banking. Sadly, we're not allowed to go flat out in this car today. It feels like it would be up for it, actually. This particular model has the adaptive suspension. All cars come with progressive steering, which is a variable ratio steering system. And what that means is that at small turns of the steering wheel, it's quite smooth and less responsive, I guess, which is really good for on the motorway. But then as you turn the wheel more, the ratio changes and actually it turns quicker, and that's really useful, especially on tight twisty turns where you're making from one turn to another quickly, and it gives the car a feeling of agility, actually, more so than you might expect from an SUV like this. Now, as I said, this is the sportier model, the VZ, and it's also got the adaptive suspension, and it's worth investing in if it's priced sensibly, I think, because the comfort setting is actually really comfortable. Even though I'm on 20-inch wheels and the surface here is really quite bad, there's no problem. It's really very, very comfortable indeed, and it just adds to the feeling of high quality in general. So I mentioned at the top that I would talk about the powertrains. Now, the full lineup isn't confirmed and we don't know full pricing, as I mentioned, but we know for a fact there'll be at least one plug-in hybrid, if not two, which means well over 200 horsepower, up to 265 horsepower. And just as importantly, of course, a range of 100 kilometers on a charge. We haven't yet had a chance to test that today, and it is searing hot here in Spain, so we'll probably have the air conditioning on for quite a while as well, so it isn't really the best test of a range. What I will say is that immediately in the driving we have done, the car feels together. There's a togetherness to it. It feels polished. It's nice to drive. It's pleasant to drive just at normal speeds. And let's face it, that's what's important to somebody who buys a car. They just want to enjoy it. Want to enjoy everyday driving. Even with the sporty image, even with all of that, this isn't going to be a car that people are going to be taking to a track or driving particularly fast. It's not a hot hatch, but it is nice to feel that it has got something to it, that it is enjoyable to drive, and that's the thing that comes out most from today's drive. So alongside the plug-in hybrids is definitely going to be a 1.5 litre petrol engine with mild hybrid assistance. You don't need to do anything different as a driver or an owner. You can't plug it in as such, but the electrification adds to the performance and adds to the efficiency. What we do not know if it's coming or not is a diesel version, and diesel is still a big deal in this marketplace, so I think Cupra will be missing a trick if they don't introduce a diesel model or diesel engine to this car, but that isn't confirmed, and don't quote me on that. I'll just be a bit surprised if it doesn't come eventually. That's our very first look at the new Cupra Terramar. As I said, I think it's one of the best looking versions of this platform that we've seen from the Volkswagen Group, and it backs it up with high quality and it drives well. Really, it'll all come down to the price. If Cupra Ireland can keep the price down sensibly, this could become a real star of the sales lists. If you want to read more about the Terramar and indeed any of its rivals, pop along to our website. It's CompleteCar.ie, and it's a great resource for choosing your next new car.